Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome to my latest video. This week's video, we're going to get into a bunch of things MMA related. We're going to talk about the latest UFC news, UFC's last card in Brazil, which was last Saturday, and basically this week's card, UFC 170. So basically, let's start off with the card in Brazil. So basically, I'm going to highlight 3 fights on that card. The first fight I want to talk about was Eric Silva. And Eric Silva is in the 170-pound division, a young kid. And basically, he won by another first-round stoppage. This guy can be a future star in that division, so keep a lookout for him, Eric Silva. Got a great hands, so he's exciting to watch. So watch him in the future, guys. If you don't know who he is, check him out. The other fight I'm going to talk about is Francis Carmont and Ronaldo Jacare Sousa. And basically, Carmont trains with George St. Pierre and the TriStar Gym. And Jacare is an excellent fighter. He has one of the best ground games in the sport of MMA, which he showed in his Strikeforce days. And his hands are improving every fight. So this guy's definitely a guy you need to watch. And he defeated Francis Carmont in that fight. And Jacare, potentially down the road, if he keeps winning fights, could get a title shot at the UFC middleweight championship. Very well-rounded fighter. And basically in the main event, we're going to talk about Lyoto Machida and Gegard Mousasi. So basically, if you know anything about Gegard Mousasi in his last fight, he fought this trippy Swedish guy who was a late replacement in that fight. And basically, Gegard Mousasi just jabbed the shit out of him all night. And Gegard Mousasi has been in the sport for a long time. So this is a solid win for Lyoto Machida. He did a classic Machida fight, very elusive. Feinted him to see what Gegard Mousasi is going to do in defense. Lots of movement and very hard to hit. So classic Lyoto Machida. His next fight, I see him getting a title shot against the winner of the Chris Weidman and Vitor Belfort fight. So definitely check that out. And now we're going to move on to some MMA news. Basically, we're going to talk about Gilbert Melendez. Dana White told him to basically get another contract offer. To look what was out there, and Gilbert Melendez called his bluff and signed with Bellator. So Gilbert Melendez, get that money and do what you got to do. And so yeah, he stood up to the bully Dana White, and congratulations to him. And the UFC can still match a contract, but I highly doubt they will. And another bit of MMA news is Chael Sonnen, who was filming The Ultimate Fighter in Brazil against Wanderlei Silva, actually basically offered to step up and fight Daniel Cormier, who we're going to get into a little bit later in the UFC 170 card, because he was fighting Rashard Evans, and Rashard Evans got injured, and nobody wanted to fight Daniel Cormier except for this gentleman we're going to name in a little bit there. And basically, you got to give Chael Sonnen a lot of respect for even offering to take a fight on such short notice against a top-level competitor like Daniel Cormier. And I've gained a lot of respect for Chael Sonnen over the years, and he's great at selling the fight. Excellent at selling, does like the pro wrestling style promos. So yeah, and that leads me into the UFC 170 card. And as I had mentioned, Daniel Cormier has a new opponent. He was originally supposed to face Rashard Evans. Now he's fighting Pat Cummins. And basically, Pat Cummins got this fight because the great Dana White basically had heard that Pat Cummins said he made Daniel Cormier cry when they were in wrestling Olympic training together. And basically, yeah, so the great Dana White got this guy out of his coffee shop job, and now he's the savior of the card. And, like, I got a real problem here. I just want to make this point about Dana White here. This guy is suing fans for not buying the cards. Well, I used to buy the cards, and they're $39.99. You get 5 good fights. Now you're depending on a guy who's working in a coffee shop a week ago to save your card? Like, that seems a little desperate to me. And he's, suing fans for streaming and stuff. I think it's stupid. Like, obviously, I mean, you shouldn't be pirating stuff, but put on some fucking good products. And then people wouldn't have to do that. They'd watch the pay-per-view. So basically, getting into the Cormier fight, I don't think Pat Cummins, obviously besides his great Olympic wrestling, is going to bring any trouble to Daniel Cormier. Daniel Cormier also is an Olympic wrestler, so that's going to neutralize itself. I see Cormier stopping Cummins. Cormier is taking it personally, the insults that Cummins has said about him. So I think overall, just a great. Um, Daniel Cormier is just a great fighter, so I see him easily winning the fight. And the main event, we're going to talk about Ronda Rousey and Sarah McMahon. So for those of you who don't know Sarah McMahon, she is an Olympic wrestler. And actually, her hands aren't too bad. I thought she was going to be a lot worse when I first seen her highlights on YouTube with some of her fights. Her hands are actually pretty decent. Actually, better than Ronda Rousey's there from 3 or 4 fights ago. But I do see Ronda Rousey winning this fight by armbar in probably the 3rd round. I just think Ronda is improving her hands every fight. Her judo is amazing, and her arm bars are just magnificent. She just has that technique down. Nobody knows how to stop it. So I don't see Sarah McMahon stopping it. She hasn't fought the same competition Rousey has. So I see Ronda Rousey winning that fight. Next fight we're going to talk about is Rory McDonald and Damian Maia. This is basically a comeback fight for both guys. Rory McDonald lost to Robbie Lawler in his last fight, and Damian Maia lost to Jake Shields. So basically, they both need wins. And I'm picking Rory McDonald to win this fight. I think Rory will jab and kind of lay and pray on him. It'll be kind of a boring fight. And yeah, I think Rory wins the fight. I think he's more well-rounded than Damian Maia. Damian Maia has an outstanding ground game, though. So I guess you can never count him out in a fight, really, especially when it's on the ground. But I definitely see Rory McDonald taking this fight. The next fight I'm going to talk about is Mike Pyle and TJ Wahlberger. This fight, basically, I'm going to keep this one simple. I'm just going Mike Pyle, veteran of the sport, pretty well-rounded. Yeah, I'm going to go with him in that fight. And next fight, we got Whitaker and Thompson. That's the main card. And Whitaker, I think, is going to win this fight. He trains at TriStar. He's got a really unique style. And I think that's going to pose problems for Thompson in this fight. And yeah, look for Robert Whitaker to win this fight by decision, in my opinion. Keeps his hands really low, just awkward style. And basically, let me know what you guys think of this card. You're going to buy this pay-per-view. And basically, what do you guys think of the cards overall in general? Do you find they've been going downhill the last couple of years or last year or so? Or is that just me? Give me your opinion and let me know what you guys think are going to win these fights. Thanks for checking it out once again. Appreciate it.